What can I do to achieve that which I've desired? Ifeanyi, what can I do to get out of this current situation? The first thing is to understand that stop trying to seek something external. Delete the belief that your achievement or your success is something outside of yourself, that you have to get something or something has to happen before you become successful. What do you have in your hand? Whatever you have, everybody has a unique ability, everyone has a unique skill and gifting that can lift him. Everything you have, there's a unique ability you have that is sufficient enough to open the two gates of your destiny. But you have not recognized it, refined it, and deploy it. Nothing at its crude state is rewarded, even oil. Thank God for Ifani Ernest. Thank God for all these celebrities that you currently fan and you see as God. But you might have a superior version of this thing you're currently celebrating, but you have not recognized it, refined it, and deploy it. Your unique ability is enough. It is sufficient to take you out of that current situation. Even crude, you look at the people in the refinery, they have to mask themselves up fully clad in order to extract this crude. As smelly and as sticky as it is, this is what nations will go to war for. This is what nations will kill and fight and do deals in order to attain. In the presence of value, pain is no longer a factor. If you're in any situation or if you're in any environment where they keep giving excuses as to why they can't see you or why they can't pick your call, all those are flimsy excuses. If you are valuable enough, they would no longer matter. I want to tell you people that today, that every single thing, there's something in your hand that's able to lift you out of that current situation. As long as you keep blaming other people and saying my father did this and my father did that, it's because of my parents. Supposing he had gone to school when his mates were getting educated, perhaps I would not be in this situation. My friend, for as long as you keep blaming someone who has gone, there is no rising for you. I heard of a story of two gentlemen. One was a successful businessman and the other would become a nuisance to society. It turns out that their parents or his father was a drunkard, a drug addict, very bad templates. And they were opportune to interview these two young men. They asked the first one, who is a successful businessman, why are you successful and you are a visionary? What's the reason behind your success? He said, my father. They asked the second person, his brother, why are you a nuisance to the society? Why are you destroying and vandalizing the government's property? Why are you doing this? He answered the same thing, because of my father. So on one hand, for one person, he said, if if I came out of a poor family, I will not let a poor family come out of me. For the other person, it was an anchor scenario to remain bad and become a nuisance to society. My friend, let me tell you, there are people who have gone through 10 times the thing you are currently experiencing and been able to reinvent themselves and emerge victorious. You hear of these success stories, these entrepreneurs who went on to become billions, who are now worth billions of dollars, who experienced a rough childhood, perhaps father abandoned them. You listen to the story of Steve Jobs and he was given up at birth. Even the people who adopted him, Paul and Clara Jobs, were not high school graduates. His father was a mechanic. He had zero advantage at all. Yet he was able to build $1 trillion company. Mister, my father didn't train me well. In my world, Everything that does not work, I sit down and I take responsibility and I go to work. Reinvent yourself, become so valuable that people cannot ignore you. I want to start a YouTube channel, but I do not have a camera. Let me wait till I get a camera. What's wrong with your phone? Clear out some storage. Begin the YouTube channel, my friend. More tools will be found along the way. Start, start. That initial step is very important. The journey of the thousand step, journey of the thousand miles begin with a step. It was Miyamoto Musashi who gave that comment. You might not arrive at your destination. However, if you look back, you'll see how far you've come. Had you not, you would have not achieved this progress had you not taken the initial step. So beginning is crucial in the journey. Start. I don't have a good voice. That's why I don't write songs. Well, then write the song and give it to someone who has a good voice. They give the credit to you. I'm a businessman, but I don't have time for my. I don't have time to invest in my business because we have all these church programs and I'm a head pastor or something like that. Respectfully speaking, flimsy excuse. I used to read books and invest in myself, but times are hard and I'd rather spend that finances on myself. Flimsy excuses. You see, I made a decision that I would never be poor in my life. The devil heard that confession. He thought it was a joke. You asked him now. I started by creating tons of faceless YouTube channels. From there, before that, I was very ambitious. I was a very ambitious individual. I studied the financial markets, trying to understand the cause and effects, the reason behind this interest rate. How is it that somewhere the US dollar is affecting my local currency here in Nigeria? When I'm hearing the news, I feel disenfranchised. They are printing trillions and trillions of naira. How do they pour that into the economy? It can't always be going to private pockets. It becomes boring over time. There must be a system, a way in which they funnel this thing into the economy. And my friend, you understand that currency is current. What is current? Flow. Money is like water. If you find out where it's going to and position yourself in the middle, you would get wet. So in that little research, I found out that there's something called the open market operations. This is how governments, not just in Nigeria, this is how government funnel money into the economy. So when I immediately understood that, I took action. I do not want to delve into the story, but currently Nigeria, from a peasant perspective, is going through one of the worst regime. You see now that the government or the president rather, they are trying to revive the economy through this poverty alleviation scheme, through this grants, loans, trainings, etc. All these events, you have to be discerning enough. When you see the government taking these precautionaries, you understand that the idea behind all these committees is to try and stimulate the economy. So when they release that kind of program, money flows into the economy. The beneficiaries have gotten these newly printed dollars and they can now spend it either on feeding, clothing, etc. So money is injected into the economy through that outlet. For me, who is already financially literate and gotten to a point of finances where I can be able to take investment, instead of going through those training and spending 12 months of my life, what do? I had my assistant draft a letter to the Anambra state government. Look, I want to create 200 homes. But in order to do that, I'll need a 10 to 15-year tax abatement. Here is my bank balance. I attached a photo of my bank balance. Here's what we've done in the past. So I draft it in a way that, okay, if you give me this tax abatement, Creating new homes will not only create new homes for people, enable people to move out from their previous home to this new one. Also, the people from another previous home moved into this newly vacated apartment, thereby stimulating the economy. Also, I create new job opportunities through labor costs. My finances are spread through cement factory, the building materials, iron rods, and all other materials that pertains to building. So in other words, I'm also in my own way stimulating the economy. In order to do that and execute this efficiently, I'll need a 10 to 15 year tax abatement. Within 3 hours, we got a response from the government, curbing, heeding to our initial request. They were able to secure a 12-year tax abatement. Now, majority of you do not understand what tax abatement is, but tax abatement is a legal way to not pay tax. So instead of falsifying my records, instead of lying and cheating in order to get a lower tax bill, not only am I doing a disservice to myself, because when you're about to sell that business or when you're about to attract investors, they look at your books and say your business is not profitable. So you might gain the benefit in the short term, but you're only doing a disservice to yourself. You have to be able to refine yourself to become valuable, to know these things. I don't want to remind you of bad memories, but if you, especially here in Nigeria, there's something called during COVID, our palliatives was withheld from us by the government. And when the Nigerians discovered the location of the palliatives, they broke into there, scaled the fence, and were looting the palliatives. You see people who had zero connection, people who had never met each other up until that point, helping themselves, carrying the bags of rice, the bags of noodles, helping each other, being cooperative. And I said to myself, what if you can become this this palliative? What if you can become so valuable like this storehouse that people would scale the fence in order to meet you? I've said it again that in the presence of value, pain is not a factor. To reinvent yourself, stop pointing fingers. That thing you have is enough to change your situation financially. And majority of people watching this understand that finances play a huge role as to actualizing destiny and your life. It is not the whole thing, but it is necessary and it is important. Do not neglect your finances. There is no nobility in poverty. If you're a Christian and if you gone through religious leaders who have sold you a negative connotation towards money. You are a better Christian if you have your own home where you can lock yourself and pray to God. You are a better Christian if you can send your children to better schools which serve your purposes and not only educate themselves about your religion. You are a better Christian if you can hold your integrity and not even notice the bribery because you have risen to a point and level of finances where those extra biblical practices do not appeal to you. You are a better Christian if you can eat 3 times a day, except you are on a fasting period. You are a better Christian if your children do not have to be thrown out of school. It's time to get to a point and be tired of your situation. You might not know what to do. You might say, I'm a 65-year-old man. I've lived my life carelessly. I've been a bad experience. I've been a bad model to the upcoming generations. Is there anything I can do? If there's nothing you can do, you can advise people. You can create content on how bad you've lived your life. You can show people a superior template so they do not make the same mistake as you did. If your predecessors, not predecessors, if your successors go through the same experience as you, then you have not blessed them. If you go through poverty, be the last person. If you go through spiritual bankruptcy, be the last person. If you go through financial illiteracy, be the last person who has experienced that kind of thing. Make a covenant with your destiny that I might have been a bad father. I did not have any superior template. Nobody taught me how to raise a child. I grew up in a home where everyone was a drunkard. But I'm sorry and I apologize to my wife and my child. But as from today, I take responsibility over my life and I will file myself. I might not know what to do now, but there's one thing that's for sure: I am not going back. The spirit of wisdom takes it from there. How it happens, everything it becomes, it begins to look like everything is in conspiracy for your success. So is the power of determination. I believe John F. Kennedy asked Warner von Braun, what would it take to put a man on the moon? He replied, the will to do it. Once you sustain the will to leave that current situation, you would leave it. As always, my friend, it's a pleasure speaking to you guys. I'll see you in the next one.